Welcome to the talk show is Apaxim, World at Evolution. A character of an idea, a novel story, a fantasy, or perhaps reality. And I'm going to talk about the Lords of War and the Lords of Peace. I'm going to talk about the culture of life and the culture of death. Fundamental right, much more important than the right to freedom of speech, is the right to life. The dignity of life. Which countries have embraced abolishing the death penalty? Besides the European Union, all other Christian nations, all the world, with the exception of 3 places. The culture of death is present in communist China. They execute prisoners, as well as in the Islamic states. The ancient serpent and the beast of 7 heads, as well as in America, the United States of America, because in Latin America we follow the Pope as well. The culture of life. However, you see, when they assassinated John F. Kennedy in 1963, and yeah, it was, a Protestant thing, Henry VIII thing, a waspy thing, like Leonardo DiCaprio showed us in his movie 1850, Gangs of New York. So that division amongst us caused for the culture of death to invade our nation, and hence abortion as a state policy, as an international monetary fund policy, became the rule. What would have happened if Kennedy, the Catholic, would have turned America into no death penalty union of Christian nations? And we have had thus far 9 kings. Remember I talked about 1, then 7, and 10. There's a 10th president of the United States of America. And this is just an educated parallelism in between scriptural, eschatologic, personal interpretation. But it seems apparent that we have 10 kings of OPEC named by Bush the assassin. And of course, that's when OPEC started to grow. The power of oil. And they happen to be death penalty nation because of their scriptures. They follow the Old Testament to the letter. They don't know about the New Testament of mercy. The one that forgives the adulterous woman, and even the thief hanging by his side on the cross, he invites to paradise. The God of mercy, the one that heals and feeds people and cures people. The culture of life, our Christian faith, undivided, one church. Divide and conquer, said the great military leader. See, wars are not fought in the fields, in the minds of people. And hence we have a right to speak, to believe, freedom of speech. And I should not be punished to death for believing and saying things. Because if that happens, that would be religious state such as Islam, wouldn't it? So our death penalty rules, this ancient religion rules as well. Cain, before the Jews, the son of Eve, killed his brother. See, Satan came here at the same time that humans came. Before he was there, and we saw him in the Garden of Eden, and we ate the fruit of the wisdom of good and evil, the knowledge, and we died because it was forbidden. They tricked us. The serpent said, no, that God doesn't want you to eat from that because he knows that you will be like him, you're like God, and live eternally. But that's a tree of life, the Eucharist. See, we were not allowed to eat of that tree. It's like when you go to communion. You cannot go to communion if you have a mortal sin. You need to go to confession, enter through the door. So death entered into the world. Those two ancient beings, our fathers, our mother, were eternal. And they used to live at 900 years. So imagine the graces, the powers, and the evidence that we have on earth of ancient civilizations. Yes, hundreds of thousands of years ago, civilization of earth has been. See, we're not the first. It ended with Noah back then in the glaciational period, and we don't know if it's this recent one, or maybe, I don't know, a billion years ago. Who knows, man? It's lieth deep under the earth. And there's testimony everywhere. So, our struggle is not against flesh and bones, but against principalities of darkness. And we need to understand that they have the power to turn whole nations to their will, as it happened with so many. Let me give you an example. When we're not delivered by Christ, when we have not been anointed, Jesus said, how is it possible that out of the same fountain two waters flow? And this reminds me so much of St. Peter, no? When Jesus said, and this is the theological part of it, who do the people say that I am? And we'll be back on subject. Who do they say that I am? You're the people say that you're, John that resurrected, or Elijah, something like that. And what about you? Who do you say that I am? So imagine God hiding in plain sight, the Creator, none other, the only Son of God, which is God Himself, in three persons, because His Holy Spirit married Mary. Only one Son. And that event took place in the universe. Oh yeah, very relevant event. And so many angels came. And some 2/3 to cheer. 1/3 trapped here since the beginning, when he got his wings. Unchained he was. When Christ came on the cross, He delivered us. And He gave us eternity. He opened our eyes. We were dead in the Garden of Eden. We regained our consciousness, who we are, where we come from. The most blessed species on the universe, by God. Insignificant earth, like the little tiny sun, the smallest, like Belén of Ephrata, one of the smallest cities. So humble He is. So envies took place, and Jesus says, who do you say I am? And Peter said, check this out, you are, and a lot of you know this, you are the Son of God, the Messiah. Not the only Son, because God is one for the Jews. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu. Shema Israel, Adonai Yehad. And that's where Jesus decided to marry. So yes, he elected people on earth, and we are the Gentiles. But through Christ, we have all been made one. That's a beauty. So he knew it's one. Yehad. It's one. And Jesus said to Peter, Peter, flesh has not revealed that to you. My Father has. He chose you. And my Father gave you to me. You're the first. The rock. The church will be founded on you. The first one that believed, perhaps before John. There were three, then John, and then James, and they went to the Mount of Transfiguration. So they knew him. He revealed himself to them through faith, through grace, through the Spirit. That's like faith. It's a gift from God. You can rationalize it, but you cannot arrive to faith by reason alone. You can, if you're very intelligent, deduct that there's hierarchies above, and that we men are not the species.